What's going on, summoners? Welcome back to another ProGuides Wild Rift video. I'm Kangas, and today we're talking about healthy lifestyle tips that are guaranteed to improve your play. It can get hard at times to keep up with this stuff, and even I struggle with it sometimes too, but these 3 essential tips are an absolute must if you want to climb. Of course, it's also important to grind out games to improve, but there are factors outside of the game that if you really care about climbing, you need to take care of. But before we hop into all of that, we got our question of the day. What's the longest Wild Rift binge that you have ever done? The longest I played is about 4 hours, which I know isn't too long, but I find it's kind of hard to play for as long as I could when I was a kid. Anyway, let me know yours in the comments down below, and let's get into the video.
All right, so our first tip of the day is to always stretch your hands before and after you're playing a spree of Wild Rift. All games take a toll on the health and longevity of your hands, and especially younger gamers don't really realize this, but I'm sure that you veteran gamers out there all know. This rings especially true for Wild Rift since it is a mobile, mechanically intensive game. Don't get me wrong, utilizing the touchscreen for gaming is a fantastic technological advancement, but it can definitely become really harsh on the health of your hands. If you don't take care of them, carpal tunnel syndrome can easily develop. So in light of that, here's 3 basic stretches to help you out. Oh, and a quick disclaimer, I'm not a medical expert, so if you're feeling extreme discomfort while performing these stretches, stop immediately and consult a medical physician first. All right, so the first stretch. Press all of your fingers together, making sure that you connect the same fingertips on both of your hands. Place pressure against them, slowly bringing your palms together. Once your palms touch, slowly perform the opposite while continuously applying pressure. Perform this exercise 5 times. You should feel your fingers loosening, warming them up to prepare you for your games. Since Wild Rift only really uses 2 specific fingers to play, the next stretch will be for your thumbs. Make a fist with both of your hands, but tuck your thumb underneath your other fingers. Then open your palms and straighten all your fingers, spreading them apart. Repeat this around 8 times, and while doing so, you should feel the back of your palm relaxing. I like to end this one by shaking out my hands too. And the final stretch is for when you are finished playing Wild Rift, since this stretch is a bit more straining. Straighten your arm and hand, creating a line parallel to the floor. Utilize your other hand to grab the back of your outstretched hand, applying pressure downward and making your hand perpendicular to your arm. You should feel the top side of your forearm tug. Be sure not to force too much pressure into your wrists though, but do enough where you actually feel the stretch. Do this for around 10 seconds and then do essentially the same thing but stretch upwards instead, using your other hand to pressure palm side fingers rather than the back side. Once again for 10 seconds and then switch to your other arm, repeating the same process. Hopefully these stretches help your hands feel healthier when playing Wild Rift and allow you to become more conscientious of the overall physical toll and balance required for gaming. Gaming overall has a stigma of unhealthy habits, from the culture of binge playing, trash talk, and even all-nighters that involve little to no exercise. So let's take esports professional players as an example. These players grind the game hours on end, day after day, but to increase the longevity of their careers, more and more attention and care to the athlete's health has become an industry standard. They have healthy care and physical training professionals that create routine exercise programs. In addition, they're given nutritional plans to increase their brain efficiency while promoting a regular sleep schedule. In the past, and even partly now, there's belief that esports professional players can only play to their prime age until about 20. But nowadays, many League of Legends veterans have been busting this myth. Y'all know Faker, right? Member of SKT1 and known as the greatest League of Legends player of all time? Well, he's been playing professional for about 8 years now. In fact, he's still active in the competitive scene, now 24 years old. He even looks healthier now than when he first debuted and still performs excellently on the competitive stage. It's been a while since he won a World Cup, but Faker is still, without a doubt, a very skilled professional player, very comparative to many of the newer recruits. The difference in he's a living legend who took his health seriously. Also take Doublelift as an example as well. I mean, he played professionally since the first season of League of Legends. And yeah, he did recently retire. The AD carry player displayed some of the greatest plays in 2018, earning NALCS MVP for the summer split. This was at the age of 24, and just like Faker, he looks way healthier now than he did 10 years ago. I mean, look at those thick arms. It's like twice the size of Nate's. It's like looking 5 years into Nate's future, man, I'm telling you. These prime examples of top-level gaming should help push the importance of health management in order to play better in your games. Of course, you're probably not playing Wild Rift at a professional level or aspiring to become a pro player, but with gaming as a whole, for many of us, and me included, it truly is a lifestyle. And with any lifestyle, making sure that you take care of yourself so that you can continue your daily routines is essential to staying happy. Speaking of emotions, Wild Rift can get really infuriating to play, especially because of toxic teammates. So to learn more about this, be sure to check out our video on how toxicity is destroying the Wild Rift. Alright, so the next tip. If you're trying to climb ranked, another important aspect of maximizing play is to take a mental break from Wild Rift when necessary. Look, I get it. It's super easy to continuously blame your team and curse the game for some of the developers' poor balancing decisions. But at the end of the day, it's your decision to continue playing, and therefore solely your responsibility whether you climb or not. This is a harsh reality and very difficult to come to terms with. Most players don't like to acknowledge this fact, causing them to tilt. When they become upset, their quality of play decreases, thereby diminishing their chances of winning and climbing. The more losses and negative experiences that you go through in Wild Rift in a single sitting, the more the emotional burden stacks, and chances are these losses will affect your mental. So how do we fix this? A huge and helpful tip for increasing your chances of winning in Wild Rift is to realistically gauge your mental state. In other words, just be self-aware. Personally, when I'm on a mission to climb ranked, I ask myself, how am I feeling right now? If I'm feeling positive and feeling like grasping the day, going for crazy plays, it's a great opportunity to grind some ranked games. But if I already feel a little irritable, maybe I didn't eat right, or maybe I didn't sleep that well, or maybe I haven't gone outside at all that day to get some sunshine, then I choose to avoid ranked. Chances are, if I tried to play ranked in that scenario, the game would not go well. If I run into a feeder or a toxic player who spends all their time chatting, my mood would be impacted more heavily than if I were feeling positive and patient that day. The thing about Wild Rift is, if you decide to be negative and focus on the negative aspects of the game, you start to give up hope on winning by effectively denying your own ability to look for positive plays to turn the game around. This rings especially true during the earlier stages of the game, when practically every match is winnable. If you instead focus on finding a solution rather than tunneling in on the issues present in the game, you're more likely to make an impact and take control of the tides of the game, increasing your chances of victory. No matter how good you are, there will always be areas that you can improve upon. But during the moments that you just give up, choose to complain, or even tunnel in on your teammates' mistakes, your progress as a player reaches a screeching halt. As previously mentioned, the more losses you experience in a row, the more likely you will complain about the progress of the game yourself. So how do we avoid this from happening? Honestly, it's as simple as taking a 5-minute break. Each game takes a mental toll whether you win or you lose. Wild Rift uses a lot of brain power, and some games are harder fought than others. Some people have a higher endurance for intense gaming than others, and sometimes that endurance is simply impacted by your mood for the day. So learn yourself, know your limits, and learn to realize when you need to take a breather. Especially in team games, it becomes such a cultural norm to just spam the next game after a loss. Maybe you want to prove that the last loss was a fluke, or maybe you just want to prove to yourself that your teammates were just bad and that you'll get a better team next time. Put your ego-boosting excuses to the side and tell yourself it's okay to lose. Take that well-deserved mental break, it's not the end of the world. And like I said, even taking a 5-minute break will really help you de-stress and maximize your game engagement. Let's look at another example from competitive gaming. Very rarely do games occur immediately after the match concludes. Players in almost every competitive game are given a really big break time between matches in order to reset their minds and think about what went well and what didn't. If the top level players of the world need time to reset and maximize their skills, then guess what? So do you. So we talked about stretching to keep healthy, while also discussing keeping your mental in check. So next up, we'll talk about something that connects the two together: diet. I say it every video, but make sure you are well hydrated and also eating properly if you're trying to climb in Wild Rift. Seriously, I can't emphasize this enough. I'm sure everyone here has experienced hunger at some point, some more than others, and realize that hunger affects your work, your studies, or even your ability to just have fun. Yeah, Wild Rift is just a game, but there's so much depth to the gameplay that you want to make sure your brain has the proper energy and nutrition to efficiently process information. Eating increases your brain activity, which therefore allows you to perform better in Wild Rift. This isn't magic mumbo jumbo that I'm spewing here, this is biological science, although it's not as widely advertised for gaming as I'd like. If you've checked out any of our other guides, you know that there's so many different things to keep track of when you're playing, such as minion waves, objectives, team positioning, and pings. These are already hard enough, so don't make it harder by having to struggle with hunger. Additionally, there's so many things to get angry over when playing, and being hungry definitely won't help with managing your mental. Take it from me, anger is definitely a thing. And we already discussed the adverse effects of irritability in Wild Rift. If you ever find yourself having to choose between eating or playing Wild Rift, just go eat. The game is great and it becomes such a staple part of our lives, but it's not important enough to replace food. Go take your needed break. Wild Rift will still be there when you come back. A lot of popular media in the past tried to label gaming as an unhealthy and inefficient way to spend time. But as I'm sure all of us gamers know, that's just not true. The gaming community has grown into something amazing, promoting inclusion, diversity, and change. but there are definitely unhealthy habits that have become extremely normalized in gaming culture. As an influential Wild Rift channel, I really hope that I can help make some positive change in your habits for gaming. Maybe there won't be massive changes from just one video, but just for one person watching this that needed to hear it, I hope that you enjoyed today's content.
Gaming is a hobby, but it's also a lifestyle, so establishing healthy habits that ensure you can continue this lifestyle is paramount to continue gaming. Hey, if you learned anything today, be sure to like and subscribe. I swear we got way more fun content coming out in the future that you will not want to miss. Also, don't forget to answer a question of the day in the comments down below, and also check out our community Discord through the link in the description. That's it for today, everybody, so until next time, best of luck on the Rift, stay hydrated, and take care of yourself. I'll see you next time.